everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I am so happy to have you here today. Before we get started, be sure that you're subscribed here. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming because I've got so many fun things planned for the future. Now in today's tutorial, we're going to be talking all about sublimation. And if you don't know what sublimation is, it is a special kind of ink printed onto a special type of paper that needs to be used with sublimation blanks, which can be anything from polyester fabric to polyester coated things like cups, boards, cutting boards, tote bags, all sorts of things. So when you're working with sublimation, you have to use polyester products. You can't just press those on to a cotton shirt. But another thing that is really important about using sublimation is that it needs to be on light colored shirts. And depending on the color of your shirt, it can affect the color of your print. Think about it like using a clear sticker or even sometimes like a really thin paint, like a watercolor paint. It's going to change the color depending on what you put it on. So in this video, we're going to show you how to print out your design, but then this big pile of shirts in tons and tons of colors, we're going to press the designs to each of the colors. I have 11 different colors here so that we can really compare what they look like and why it's best to choose one color over another color. Now I got all my shirts from shirtspace.com and I will link the shirts that I'm using below. I did use kids size shirts just so that I didn't have as much material to deal with, but they are really nice quality shirts, so I'm excited for you guys to check these out. And you can also use code CBCrafts3 when you shop with ShirtSpace to save yourself $3. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing that we need to do is grab a design to use so that we can test these shirts. So I want to use something that had a ton of different colors. So I thought we'd use a rainbow, and I thought these ones were really pretty. And I feel like they give us quite a bit of like color range, but we're also going to add some black text to this so you can really get a good idea on what the different colored shirts are going to look like with the different designs. Now this is from Creative Fabrica, and I'll link it down below in case you want to check these out to use them for a project. But I'm going to just simply click download, and it's going to open up a folder and ask me where I would like to save this. So for this, I'm going to save it into the file that I made for this video, and I'm simply clicking save. Now I do need to make sure I unzip or extract my folder. That way I can access all of my clip art here. So all I simply have to do is click extract all and then click extract, and that's going to unzip or extract the folder so that I can access the files. Now this is really important to do, and if you don't do it, you won't have access to your images. I'm going to close the other folder, and we're going to choose a rainbow out of these ones. Now I want something that has some pretty intense color to it, so we're going to click through and take a look. Now these are all PNG images with transparent backgrounds, so when we open them, what you're going to see here is you're just going to have the rainbow image. Now I do like this one, but I don't know if that's quite the color scheme I want to go with. And this one's cute, but I don't feel like the colors are quite as intense as I would like. Same with this one, cute, but not quite it. So we're just going to kind of click through until we find one that we really like to use. Now this one I like a lot, and I like the white because I want to be able to show you guys that white won't print. But honestly, I don't think we need the clouds necessarily. So there are some definite cute ones in here, but I do want something that's a little bit more intense. Now I do really like this one, and I think it's going to give us a good range of like showing you what the colors are going to look like, because we have some of these lighter areas, but we also have a lot of these dark areas. So this is clip art 13. So that might be the one that we use, but I'm going to click through the rest of them and just compare and see if any of the others are quite what I want to do. But I really think that one's going to do it because it's got a lot of variation, which is what I want to do to be able to show you. So we're going to use that one. Now I am going to take these into Canva to create my design. So I'm just going to open up my Canva. And for this, I'm going to make these designs not super big because I do want to be able to not waste a ton of ink and a ton of paper. But I do want to create my design so that we can see what we're doing. So what I'm going to do is click Create Design up here in the upper left-hand corner. And I want to use custom size, and I'm just going to use 8.5 by 11 inches for this. And that way I can print this out really easily onto sublimation paper because you want to make sure that you're able to print that. Now, I do want to put that rainbow in here, so I can just simply drag and drop it onto my Canva. So we said we wanted to use 13, so I'm just going to drag and drop that clip art over here into Canva. I think that rainbow is going to be perfect for what we want to do. Now, you can do this for any design that you want to make. So Canva's a really great option for this. Now I'm going to make it bigger right now, but I'll size it back down when we're done kind of adding our text. Now your text can say whatever the heck you want it to. It doesn't really matter, but for this one, just so that we know what we're using it for, I'm going to put sublimation at the top, and then I'm going to put test at the bottom. That way we can get a good look at what these look like. Now I do want to use a pretty thick, heavy font for this so that you can see what the black will look like on the different colors. And for this, I really like Anton. That's a really nice font. But what's cool about this is we can go under effects and we can curve this a little bit if we want it to go around our rainbow a little bit more and just look a little more interesting. And then I'm just going to go ahead, and I do kind of want to space these letters out there a little like tight. So I'm going to space the letters out using this letter spacing option, which is right here, this little lines with the arrow. So I just want to space those out a little bit so they're not quite so squished. And then I want to add another text to the bottom, and we're just going to call this Test 2025. That way we can get a good look at what these are going to look like. Now again, I'm going to change that font to Anton, and I am going to make this a little bit bigger just so we can see it better. And I want to get it kind of centered. I think that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to use this little guide here just to kind of make sure everything's centered and looks nice, but I think that's pretty good. I'm going to select my entire design. I'm going to right click on it and group it. That way I can resize it and fit more than just one on a sheet, because we're going to be using kid size shirts. I thought we'd just save some money, use some kid size shirts, and that way we can test this out. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a bit smaller. So now what I want to do is I want to take this entire design, I want to copy it and paste it so that I have more than one on my sheet here. And I think I can fit 4. So I think I'm going to try to fit 4 of them. That way I just don't waste a lot of like stuff. Now to see the size of it, you can click position and it'll tell you that it's 4 by about 5.5. So I think that's fine. It's like I said, we don't need to use a really big design. Now, I do think I want to scooch these over just a touch, just so that they're not right against the edge. Then what I want to do is click share, and I'm going to click download. Now for this, we can use a PNG, and we don't really need to do anything here. This is completely, you can do this totally for free here on Canva. Then I'm just going to simply click download. I'm going to save this into the same folder, and I'm just going to call it Rainbow Shirt and save it. Now I've opened mine in Inkscape to print from. It just works better for my computer for some reason. So you can see that I've got my design here, and all I need to do is I can do the mirroring one of 2 ways. I can either flip it here on my screen, which works, or I can use my printer settings to do it. We got to go into the printer settings anyways. So what I want to do is go to File, and I'm going to go to Print. And then I want to make sure I have my correct printer selected, which is my ST4000. And then I want to click Preferences. Now, I want to change a couple settings here to make sure I get the best color. So I'm going to change my paper type to Premium Presentation Paper Matte. I'm going to change my quality from standard to high. And I also want to make sure that color is selected. Then under more options, I also want to turn off my high-speed print and turn on my mirror image. That way it'll flip it because sublimation designs have to be mirrored. Then I'm going to click OK. Now there is one more thing I want to do. I need 11 of these. I got 11 different color shirts to do this with to show you. So I'm going to print 3 of these, which will actually give us 12 designs, but that's totally fine. It's just easier to do it this way. Then simply click print and print these out, and then we'll go ahead and put them on our different shirts. These are all the colors. So we have white, gray, red, orange, kind of a neon yellow, green, a light blue, what I would call like a medium blue, purple, neon pink, and black. Now we have 11 colors of shirts to do. So what I'm going to do, I want to cut all of our sublimation designs apart. Like I said, I printed 12. We only need 11. It's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim these apart. It doesn't really matter how close you cut them. Just don't cut the design. So I'm just going to kind of just trim them down. Again, does not matter if one of them looks bigger than the other. The white paper is not going to affect anything, but we just need to make sure that our design is there. You're also going to need some heat tape. This is going to hold your design to your shirt. And I love this heat tape dispenser. It pre-cuts my tape. I'll link everything we're using down below. And then I've got some butcher paper that I'm going to put between the shirts. If you don't put butcher paper between your fabric, the color can bleed through to the other side. So it's really important that you do that step. So now I'm going to start with the white shirt just because that's what you would normally use sublimation with. You're going to use it with the lightest shirt possible and the highest polyester count possible because that's going to give you the best results with your color. So when you're doing sublimation or infusible ink, which is CRICUT's answer to sublimation, it's just their like pre-printed sublimation sheets, you want to use as high of a polyester count as you can, and you want to use the lightest color possible. But that's why we're doing this test, so that you guys can get a good look at what they're going to look like on the different colors. Because I feel like a lot of people will say, oh, you can't do this, and they don't really explain why. So I am going to explain why. Sublimation ink is what you would call transparent. And if you haven't done sublimation before, you may not understand how it works. So what sublimation ink is it is a product that's printed to special sublimation paper, and when heated, this will turn to a gas, and then it will dye the polyester fibers in your shirt. Now you'll see people that'll do it on cotton, but the thing with the cotton is that it will eventually fade and wash out, and it will do that fairly quickly. So when you're working with sublimation, there's a few things you need to do. You need to put your design on your shirt. Now, I am not trying to get these perfectly centered, but I'll try to get them pretty even. And you want to make sure that you place it with the ink side down, so blank side up to you. And then you're going to put some tape on it. You don't usually need a lot of tape. I do about 4 pieces in the corners. I'm going to just get all the shirts kind of set to get pressed, and then we'll press everything together. So the way I do it, put my sublimation design down, and then I fold my shirt up so that it's like a little package, and then I set it to the side. And then when we're ready, we can just go through and press all the shirts really quickly and do another shirt with you. We'll do our next color, which we'll do a gray. And I'm hoping what'll show is that you guys are gonna be able to see how the color of the shirt affects the color of the ink, because that's something really important. It just dawned on me, I can totally cut these in half so I can save a little bit of material here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut them in half so I don't have to waste material if I don't have to. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide this into our shirt. Now again, I'm using kids shirts since I didn't wanna do really big designs and I didn't wanna waste a lot of money for something like this. So I'm just gonna use these kids shirts. There we go. Again, you're gonna put your design, you wanna put it face down. Make sure that it's over kind of where you want it. Again, I'm not gonna try to get these perfect. Then I'm gonna get some tape, and I just put tape in each corner. Now we are going to need another piece of butcher paper for the top, but I will add that after we get all of our shirts set up to press. So I'm gonna go ahead, finish putting the designs on each of our shirts, and then when we're done, I'll show you how to press them. My heat press is at 400, and we're gonna press this for 60 seconds. So remember, I said you need a piece of butcher paper over your sublimation. This is gonna prevent any of that sublimation ink leaching through your paper and then onto your press. If that were to happen, it could get on some of your other shirts, your other designs, so you wanna be really careful about that. Now I do press with a medium to firm pressure, again, for 60 seconds. I'm gonna get this one pressed, peel the design off right away, and then we'll do the other ones really quickly, and then we'll do a comparison to all of them. Once it's done, you can go ahead and pull off your paper, and then you can pull off your design. And it is really hot, so just be aware of that. But now you have your design. So like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of these really quickly, and then we'll show you what everybody looks like. So while I press these, I thought I would just give you a couple little reminders of sublimation. So in order to use sublimation, you need to use sublimation ink on sublimation paper with sublimation blanks, meaning blanks that are polyester. So again, these shirts are Jersey's brand 100% polyester. The higher the polyester count, the brighter your colors are going to be. The lighter your shirt, the brighter your colors will also be, which you will see here in just a second. Now again, I press these at 400 degrees for 60 seconds. This can change depending on the blank that you are using, but most fabrics are going to be at that 400 degrees for 60 seconds. Mugs and tumblers are going to be a little bit different, and some of those other blanks will be different. So you'll want to make sure that you just check on what your settings should be. Now, this is our white shirt, so this is going to be our brightest and most beautiful because it's the lightest color. Gray still looks really good. I don't think it looks bad at all, but now we're going to get into some colors that look awful. The red one, absolutely terrible. You can see that it really eats the colors and you can't see them. The orange is all right, but again, really is making all those colors look a little bit funny and off. The yellow one is atrocious if you ask me. I think the colors look terrible, but the black is really black. This one really muted all of the colors and made them look just a little bit too off. Same with the blue. I just think this color is not one that I would ever think to use. And then we have the darker blue, which again, really doesn't look good. Now what you'll notice is the black looks good on pretty much every color until we come to black. So if you want to use a black sublimation design, if it's just text or whatever on a color, you absolutely can do that and it will look just fine. But as you can see with the black, you really can almost not see the design at all. Another thing I want to point out is that you'll notice on some of the shirts that we do have a little bit of discoloration from the press. And don't worry, as those sit and once you wash them, that discoloration will go away. It's just something really common that happens with these types of products. Same with those little press lines that you may get. Those will go away with a wash or two. Now, if you have any questions, please let me know in those comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Be sure you're subscribed here. That way you don't miss out on any fun, crafty content I have coming. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And as always, happy crafting.